Hey, it's week 2, and I wanted to show an update on some of the stuff one of our programmers has been working on. So this is a grid-based temporal sort of heat-based heat map system in which over time these cells get old and cold, so enemies can be repurposed from those areas. We can despawn anything in the blue areas and place them in the red areas where players are. And additionally, we're going to have a lot of stealth in this game. We're going to have some silenced pistols and things like that. So if you are stealthing through an area, the areas will actually be quite cold as long as you're not performing actions. And if there's an area, say, of some form of combat, that would increase the area's heat. And if there's something like a generator that's on, that would increase the heat and pull zombies from nearby areas. And another really nice thing we can do with this is say, we definitely need 20 zombies in this location. So we'll pull them from the coldest areas first if there's any available, and then we'll pull them from the furthest. And the idea is that if you return to certain areas that are still hot, that they would still have enemies. And we actually can hold that information in memory, and when we return we can respawn them as well. Another thing that we can do is use a broader phase and use that for significance. So when zombies are further from player positions, we can lower their tick rates and other features to optimize the zombies out. So this is going to be really helpful for managing that dynamic sort of enemy overworld system and make it feel really alive and fluid. And on the zombies front as well, we do have them in game. We've started playing with those. So here's a little demo of where we're at. So one of the things that we still need to implement is sound sensors, as well as damage sense, and a little bit better aiming. So one of the things we did for aiming is add this aim line that's a little bit like tactical inspiration from some of our favorite games, and a little bit of a change that we wanted to add where you can actually turn off that line, because if you want to aim at a zombie on the floor, for example, and shoot his head as he's crawling towards you, being locked into this angle isn't going to be of great help there. So you can actually enable and disable it at will, and you can still aim at all your ceilings and walls and things like this. We've got a pooling system for the zombies as well, so these guys have actually died and entered the pool, and so if I move a little bit further ahead, well, actually I think there's a spawner over here on the left. So these guys came out of the pool and they didn't put any information on the top left. You'll notice in the top left, if we spawn new enemies, it will actually tell me the higher number. So 7, you saw 7 come up at the top left here. So there was one extra guy that needed to be spawned in that scenario. And here we've gone up to 13 total. And so one of the really cool things about the AI that we've done, we've used state tree for the actual management of their behavior, which is quite optimized. You can really hang into some of these states and really lower the expense in comparison to behavior tree, and it's far easier to debug. But we've also focused on animation sharing setup, and that allows us to have all of our zombies sort of using a shared pool of animations rather than the GPU paying for every single individual zombie. And what that results in is the ability to run a much larger simulation than we otherwise could. So in this scenario, I'm running over 100 entities now. In editor, this is not working great. So what we'll do is we'll jump over to standalone, and it's a far better representation. And we've done a net test with this, and so there is some work to do on the networking side, but in terms of the CPU and GPU, we actually did have very good representation of a zombie horde that was chasing us. We need to turn off motion blur in general, because that is quite annoying. You can do a little bit of crowd surfing right now because there's no zombie attacks, but you can imagine that these zombies will be extremely deadly, so if they reach you and they hit you, you'll be bleeding or possibly even infected immediately. So when this starts to happen, you're gonna have a sort of a run for your money when it comes to how that works. So you can see here we're it's actually quite high on the MS in this case. I think I'm running 200 entities right now. But I do also have the editor in the background. But I'm running at 40 FPS in a standalone with the editor in the background, and in an actual live setting we were running at 90 FPS. So I promise it's working really well. It's quite impressive what Unreal can do when you use some of these tools. And obviously we've got some optimizations to do regardless. It's always in the movement time is the highest thing that we'll notice. So some of the optimizations that we can do is make sure that some of these enemies in the background just aren't moving when they can't. And obviously some of the state tree stuff will help us with that because we can stop them from moving under certain circumstances as well. So that's where we're at with, like, we've got some cool aim stuff. We need to implement our explosions. We do have our server stuff, obviously. We've got some settings from a plugin called auto settings, and there's actually an option to always show the aim line as well, so you don't have to toggle that control key. You can actually keep it on even if you're free aiming, just in case you I got that guy right in the head. Cool. So that's where we're at with a bunch of that stuff. What else have we got to show? So just a little bit of forward thinking. We've got our zombie vocalizations ready to go at some point. There is some tricks to using anim notifies with animation sharing, so we'll have to investigate that next week. We've got our gun sounds, although we are looking to get a same author but a larger pack that includes the silenced weapon sounds. I've got a new blood effects pack that we picked up that has some pixelated versions of blood effects. So along with that head splash, we'll be seeing some of these come in soon, just to wrap up on the zombie work that's been done. So it's going to take a second to load because it's the first time I've actually opened it. So it's kind of cool. It's definitely gory, and it's going to serve the purpose. We've got some pretty gory sounds as well that we imported. So we've got some headshot sounds, which might be a little bit too much, but we'll see. A couple of other things that we need to do is vary the meshes that are actually being used and investigate the impact on performance for having actual different meshes in the pool rather than all of these guys being the same mesh. But the expectation is that at such a low polygon count, and with the animation being the main cost, that we'll actually be able to render this completely fine. All the variants of these zombies that we do have are on an atlas texture, so that's really nice as well. So yeah, that's where we're at on week 2. Subscribe and jump into the Discord if I've linked it. Otherwise, yeah, stay in touch in the comments on YouTube and let us know what you think and what you'd like to see. Just as a quick wrap up on what this is, again, yeah, it's a co-op first top-down shooter. So it's going to be a little bit more tactical than some of the other zombie shooters out there, where it's kind of like run and gun. It's going to be a little bit slower paced, and we're looking to pitch the story around the beginning of the outbreak. So there'll be civilians that you're rescuing and vehicles that you're maintaining as you go on your journey, like an armored APC, we're thinking, and sort of like doing little missions with your buddies. So yeah, keep in touch and stay tuned and all that. So yeah, cheers, see ya.